Hi all, Once a Future Gamer here, and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. Last time was a spooky Halloween themed run through Gen 2 as we sought to see if I could beat Pokemon Crystal with a single Mischievous. Today though, we're going back even further to Gen 1 and seeing if I can beat Pokemon Yellow with just a single Voltorb. Voltorb is weird. In Gen 1, we've got a base stat total of 275 with incredible speed, but everything else is middling. Our special stat and defense is about average for a first form Pokemon. Speed is a very good stat in Gen 1 as crits are based off it, so we might be fine. If we can hit stuff for crits frequently, that'll be good. We only have that ground weakness in this game, so also good. 275 base stat total is the same as Ghastly, Grimer, Slowpoke and Doduo in Gen 1. Just saying. Here's the challenge. Our level up moveset is atrocious. We only learn 4 damaging moves and 2 of them aren't going to do us a lot of good. We get no stab via level up, so about the best move we'll be able to get is Swift. That doesn't fill me with confidence. We do get Thunderbolt as a TM as well as Mimic, so we might have to make use out of these. I think the back end of this run is going to be rough. As always, the rules are on screen throughout. Just like last week, this idea was kinda, sorta suggested by Dennis Barker. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or Discord. If you do enjoy what you see, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I'm still aiming for 300 subscribers by the end of the year, so please don't forget to hit that button. Universal Pokemon Randomizer time, and there is only one option here. I replaced Pikachu with Voltorb so that I can do the whole run with it. Voltorb does actually have a higher base stat total than Pikachu, believe it or not. Of course, as we all know, it doesn't get anywhere near the love. We nicknamed Voltorb Orbus. I can never decide if Voltorb is a lazy design or if it's actually genius. I do have a theory that it is a divergent species of Rotom, believe it or not. Discuss in the comments. Anyway, rival fight. This is actually worrying. I'm not going to lie in the slightest, given how much damage we take every time Eevee tackles us. We are not a physical attacker, we do not have a stab move, and as a result, we soon get overpowered. A series of tackles land on us, and we get taken down in relatively swift fashion. It is closer than I make it sound. One more tackle, 1 or 2 more crits might have swung it the other way, but it didn't. I need to go and train like a demon now because the first gym is the Rock Gym, and well, probably the best move we might get is Sonic Boom, but otherwise, if we don't have that, we've got to brute force it with Tackle, and for that, we need levels. I've been thinking about Voltorb for a while, and it's nice to come back to Gen 1 for the first time in ages. I always do like doing challenges in this gen, very nostalgic. It's perhaps not the hardest of games, but I just like this opening bit, going Viridian City, then going through the forest, then into Pewter City, and the fight with Brock. Takes me back to childhood. Mind you, I remember getting walled by Brock back in the day before I found out how to beat him in Pokemon Yellow. It was a different challenge to Red and Blue for sure. Mind you, they always made a thing about Pokemon Yellow being more similar to the anime, and we all know how much the anime lied to us about how to beat Brock. Hit the sprinklers on! The sprinklers! I'll make a stab at the rival before I do Brock, just to go and get those last few levels that might tip me over the edge. I do not remember what evolution he'll evolve his Eevee into if we lost in the lab and win here. I think it might be Vaporeon, which is probably going to be the easiest for us to fight, but it is what it is. This goes easier than the last fight when I utilised Screech on his team. We land Screech on Spearow, which means that when it comes to attacking, our tackles do a lot of damage to the point that we can two-hit it. It only strikes us with Pecks, which don't do a lot of damage in the slightest, and we soon down it. Eevee is a bit more annoying as it uses status moves like Sand Attack and Tail Whip, which wreck our stats, but we still get the Screech off. This time it's a free hit with Tackle when we land the moves. We never really look like losing, which is probably good even if my heart is in my mouth for a few of the turns. I wonder if we are ready for Brock yet. I suppose we are moving towards the point where we need to find out. We do get Sonic Boom at level 17, and I think this is going to make Brock a lot easier, possibly. Well, it is easier than repeatedly tackling him over and over, which would be my only other path to victory, and I'm not prepared to do that if I have another option. With that move in hand, I go to fight Brock, and as a result, it is exceptionally easy. We do have to fire 3 Sonic Booms at Geodude, one of them putting it on about a quarter of its health before the second one misses. Thankfully, Geodude doesn't really hurt us with tackle attacks, and when it comes to the third Sonic Boom, it crashes into it and takes it down. That means we just have the Onix to deal with, and I'm not worried. Our first Sonic Boom does massive damage, we tank another tackle with little distress, and then we finish that off with a second Sonic Boom to give us the first badge. Through Mount Moon I go. Now the next major battle will be either versus Misty or the rival. Either of these fights will be made easier by having an electric attack, but we've got to win both those battles, plus 2 more major fights to get that very attack. Better attacks will benefit us. Well, a better attack, Swift and Thunderbolt plus Mimic will benefit us. Anyway, on that note, if you were wondering, I took the Helix Fossil. Just saying. In Cerulean City, there is that choice of Misty or the rival, and I don't know which would be easier at this point. I figure I'll make a try on the rival first. It might be the marginally more doable fight at this point. Not that I think Misty will be hard, but going up Nugget Bridge first might make her easier. This rival fight is absolutely horrible, and for 2 reasons. Well, actually, they both involve stat debuffs, believe it or not. That is usually the way in single Pokemon runs. So, Spearow does go down relatively easily. We can hit it with our attacks. We do crit a tackle early, nice, but it does land a few growls on us, and that has the unfortunate effect of lowering our attack. So tackle already doesn't hit hard, and it's now going to do even less. Definitely not good. If lowered attack was bad, in comes Sandshrew, and it begins sand attacking us, which, absolutely, even worse. The accuracy feels horrible on Sonic Boom to start with, and we miss so many attacks over the course of the fight when we get hit with a few of them. When Sandshrew does start to attack, the scratch attacks don't do a lot, but they are aggravating. Our Sonic Booms begin to miss frequently, but Rattata does go down somewhat easily once we do land our attacks. But we do take some damage from the rat, and although it does miss a bunch of tail whips, it does connect one, and now we're running with low defense as well, just to add that bit more jeopardy. When it comes to Eevee, we miss some attacks, and part of me wonders if we are going to lose, particularly when I see what a tackle does to us after our defense debuff, but we do eventually manage to take it out. Eventually. It quite literally probably comes down to our last chance as we finish the fight on 7 HP. I run around routes 24 and 25 and then come back to fight Misty. I would say that I wish I could get an electric move before this, but it's not going to happen, so I'm going to shut up complaining about it. We are still one rival fight and beating Surge away from getting Thunderbolt, so I guess we've got to get on with it. The first attempt on Misty is frustrating as we get screwed by one of the more fascinating bugs in Gen 1. We do bring Staryu down relatively quickly with our tackle attacks, critting 2 of them, though we do get hit by a water gun and a tackle in the exchange. But we are in pretty good condition going into Starmie. I think that we are going to struggle to beat Starmie, so I go for 2 Screechers to weaken it, although that is somewhat nullified by an X-Defend. We trade blows, our tackles versus Starmie's tackles and water guns, and on our final turn we crit a tackle. Now in Gen 1, crits ignore stat changes. All of them! So the Screechers we did earlier are ignored, it hits Starmie for what it normally would have without any sort of buff or debuff, and we then get taken out on the next turn. That's annoying. Maybe we can do it at this level though. Our next attempt goes better despite us missing a bunch of attacks on Staryu and 2 Sonic Booms not being quite enough to take it out. Always aggravating that. I cannot wait to get some better attacks. Even Swift is going to be better than what we currently have, but we do take a bit of damage versus Staryu. We trade status afflictions with Starmie as we screech at it. Misty goes for a Harden and an X-Defend before we go on the assault. This time it starts using Bubble Beam, not Water Gun, which is a much more dangerous attack that inflicts decent damage on us. Thankfully though, we get the better of the exchanges, our attacks win out and we can eventually bring Starmie down for the count and take the victory, moving on with 2 badges in hand. Next major fight is the SSM rival fight. We've got Swift by this point, so that is a massive improvement. Not least because it means that the rival's cheap sand attack tactics have suddenly been voided if he goes that route. Swift can hit through Dig and Fly in this gen. Just saying. Sand attack? Not an issue. This fight suddenly is a lot easier than the previous one. We barely get hit as we begin to fire our barrage of golden poker shurikens towards his Pokemon. Spearow and Rattata go down without any sort of resistance. Sandshrew does survive a hit but only goes for scratch rather than trying sand attack tactics. Sander tactics, if you will, and we strike it down with a second blast of Swift. Eevee doesn't provide much resistance either, and we soon take it out to give us the win, and we can move on. Surge is next, and I'm desperate to get this out of the way as soon as I can, so we have a move that utilises our stab. Thunderbolt will be pretty good, at least against anything that doesn't resist electric. That move will do us the world of good. There is a lot of back and forth in these fights. We trade blows, our Swift versus Raichu's Thunderbolts. They don't do a stack of damage, but they soon mount up, and that is a little worrying. Surge does pop an X speed at the start, which makes it on a par with us speed wise. At the end, it lands a Mega Punch, which nearly finishes us off, but we can take it out with 4 Swifts. Right, time to go and off and electrocute anything that looks at us in a funny fashion. As we go through Rock Tunnel, you know it's coming, let's talk about Voltorb trivia. It got a regional form in Legends Arceus that was based on an Apricorn Pokeball. The Hisuian Voltorb was friendly and excitable, unlike the Cantonian Voltorb, who is a bit moody. My words, not the words of Bulbapedia or the Pokedex. According to the Pokedex, its components do not occur naturally, and as mentioned, they can be quite volatile temperament-wise, to the point they will explode if agitated or bumped slightly. I can't blame them, to be honest, on this. They've zapped many humans who've mistaken them as Pokeballs, despite not learning any electric moves naturally until Gen 3. You might be aware that in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, they introduced a game in the Game Corner to replace the slot machines. It's a bit like Minesweeper, and it's frigging annoyingly difficult. Voltorb has the lowest base attack stat of all electric type Pokemon. According to the official strategy guide for HGSS, it's the only Pokemon recommended for the Disc Catch event that is not flying type. It is snaggable in Pokemon XD, Gale of Darkness, and can't be respawned if the fight is lost. It seems to be based upon the concept of a living Pokeball. Most of its Pokédex entries mention it being based on a Pokeball or exploding a lot. They're often found in power plants. This is where my theory about it being a divergent of Rotom comes in, because obviously Rotom's thing is taking over machines and adapting, which kind of looks like what Voltorb did with a Pokeball, so just a thought. In Lavender Town, I tackle the rival fight while I'm here, intent on punishing him for the early game struggles that we had against him. I would say it will probably get easier from here on out, but maybe not. I don't have a great way to deal with his Sandshrew / Sandslash. Theero goes down to Thunderbolt, as does Vulpix out next, and we are 2 up in the fight very quickly. But the next opponent is Magnemite, and we resort to using swift attacks instead. 2 of them taking it out as we get hit with Tackle. Remember, no Steel type in this generation. Next is the aforementioned Sandshrew, and again 2 Swifts bring it down, but we get hit with Scratch. Before the last opponent is Eevee, and Thunderbolt wrecks it to give us a win. In Celadon City, I have a tough choice, Erica or Giovanni. I don't think either is going to be particularly pleasant, if I'm honest. Our best move for Giovanni is Sonic Boom, given he has 2 rock types and they resist Swift, and Erica resists Thunderbolt with her grass type, so I guess I'll clear out the game corner for those extra levels and make a decision. I elect to pick for Giovanni and head deep into the game corner, fighting my way past Jesse and James to get to him. And although this fight might not be without its challenges, I think we should be okay. Later fights versus him will probably be worse. That's foreshadowing, in case you can't work it out. Anyway, the fights with Onix and Rhyhorn are particularly painful for sure, as Sonic Boom is not the most effective of moves. It takes 3 of them to bring Onix down, although thankfully it doesn't really sort of fight back in any sort of way. About the best effort it makes is missing a bind on us before Giovanni goes for the signature guard spec. Rhyhorn takes 4 Sonic Booms to bring down, hitting us with a few horn attacks in exchange. But this is slow and I don't fancy using it when it comes to fighting it as a ride-on because we'll probably get summarily murdered. Persian is his last Pokemon and that, thankfully, is a single hit knockout with Thunderbolt. I'll go tackle Erica, but I'm not entirely confident. I think we are going to struggle to damage her and her team, but I'm going to have to see. Maybe I'll be better using Thunderbolt rather than Swift, even if it is resisted. That's something I may have to trial and see if it gives us a result. Let's go for it and take a chance. I try versus Tangela and Thunderbolt does not do a lot of damage, which little disheartening. Not least because when we try Swift as well, that doesn't particularly do much either. I think Tangela does have decent defence though, so when we do bring it down, we can move on to the fight with Weepinbell with a light screen up. Weepinbell does go down to 2 Swifts, but does crit a Razor Leaf on us naturally, which is about par for the course. Thankfully though, we had the light screen up. Gloom does paralyse us with Stun Spore, but it's a simple matter to bring it down with a few Swifts, though I was worried for a moment there. The lack of coverage is absolutely killing my sense of confidence. Never mind, things will improve shortly, perhaps. Anyway, after going through Pokemon Tower, I head into Sylph and a brief chat about the channel, always keeping this briefer and briefer where I can. I started playing and uploading Pokemon Colosseum at the time of writing this, which was before the Crystal with Misdreavus challenge aired. There were some episodes of my playthrough of Bayonetta which I hadn't uploaded yet and wasn't sure if I would carry on with or not. Still don't know if I haven't uploaded them yet or not. Ditto my playthrough of Tormented Souls. I quit the Fable 2 playthrough because the emulator kept crashing and it eventually irritated me to the point of stopping. So yeah, it feels like I'm in a bit of a tailspin at the moment. About the constant of the uploads of Pokemon Master Showdown, I hoped since the recording for episode 4 and 5 was something I was looking to still try and organise at time of writing. Episode 4 was definitely up at the time of this airing. There's also been some videos where I'm opening up boxes of Pokemon TCG stuff. This habit is going to spiral out of control very quickly if I'm not careful, since I am loving that chemical rush of opening booster packs, and I am very prone to addictive behaviour. Oh dear. But yeah, it's taking me back to my childhood. Also, next Pokemon challenge is going to be a Pokemon Platinum run, as I see if I can beat that with just a single Kricketune. That one is sure to be intriguing. And how many of you immediately thought of Kricketune's cry in your head when I said that? As always, if you have any ideas for challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to Twitter or Discord. Always happy to hear from you. If you haven't already done so, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, help the channel grow. Still aiming for those 300 subs by the end of the year. Thanks a lot, folks. Back to the regular action and the rival fight then. So, on the subject of this, it could not be fun, I'm sure of it. This is where his team starts to get incredibly dangerous, and so I think this might be a bridge too far for us at this time. Unfortunately, for a key move, I need to kick the Rockets out of Sylph. I don't know how this will go, but I think a lot might hinge on how we can deal with Sandslash, since, as I said before, there's no real good way for us to fight it beyond swifting it and hoping for the best. Everything else we should be fine with. Swift is my tactic. that's what I begin to fire at Sandslash, and although our first one is a crit, the rest of them don't do too much damage, and I'm worried when we get sand attacked. But only one, and the rest of the exchange comes out in our favour. We don't get poisoned by Poison Sting either. Massive relief. Magneton does land Supersonic, which causes a few moments of annoyance. It always does when we're confused, because we do seem to hit ourselves an inordinate amount of times, but more Swifts mean that Magneton soon goes down. When Ninetales comes out, we go for a few Thunderbolts that miss thanks to that sand attack. I knew that was going to come back and haunt us, but we do eventually take it down. Thankfully, it never goes for a more dangerous attacking move than Quick Attack, so we can be thankful there. Kadabra goes down to a crit Swift before Vaporeon is last. Our Thunderbolt connects, but it survives, which is worrying, and hits Bite. But we can finish that with Swift. I didn't want to take the chance on Thunderbolt. Whew, worried there. Okay, Giovanni then. Let's get this fight underway, since we need to beat him to move on to the next bit of the game. Once this fight is out of the way, we can get access to a move that may make some future fights somewhat easier, but we still have to beat him first. Nidorino and Persian at the start are pretty easy, as we zap them both down with Thunderbolt for swift wins, but the second part of the fight is the hardest, as we first have Rhyhorn, then Nidoqueen. I start with Sonic Boom versus Rhyhorn, but moves on to Swifts, as we get hit with Tail Whips because I have some faint hope about the badge boost glitch kicking in. I only have a vague idea how that works though, and I don't bank on it as a premium strategy. It takes way too many turns to bring Rhyhorn down, and then we have to fight Nidoqueen. At least here, our Swift isn't resisted, and we do manage to 4-hit her, but we do get quite hurt badly in the process, which I would definitely say is worrying, and I'm relieved she hasn't got any ground moves here. If she hadn't got the Tail Whip on the last 2 turns, things could have gotten very bad, because I feel like we were on the ropes there. Okay then, Sabrina. Might as well do this while I'm here. This could be hard, it could be simple. We shall have to see. I'm game for a try. The first attempt is a bust. We get absolutely wrecked by Kadabra and Alakazam. A Psychic from Kadabra takes out a lot of our health, and it's a small matter for Alakazam to finish us off. I'm worried now, I'm not going to lie. The second attempt though goes massively better. Abra is always shredded by Swift. This time, when we fight Kadabra, Sabrina goes for an X-Defend rather than attacking, and as a result, we can 2-hit Kadabra with Swift. Alakazam is tougher, and I definitely see one thing I've not seen before in Pokemon and never thought I would see. We're hitting our Swifts, she's going for an X-Defend and some Psy-Waves, which I'll take all day, right up until Psy-Wave connects and wipes out half our health. Psy-Wave. Bloody Psy-Wave! For more info on my thoughts on Psy-Wave, see the opening of the Misdreavus challenge last time. 4 hits. That's how many it takes from Swift to bring it down. I'm heading down to Fuchsia now, and we've got a slew of upcoming boss battles with Koga, Blaine, Giovanni and the rival in short order. So, let's get this gauntlet started and go after Koga, since we can't do the rest of them until Koga goes down. I think we should be fine, let's go do this. This fight, as I imagined, is dutifully simple as we sweep our way through. The first 3 Venonat are all easy takedowns in this battle, since Koga lacks imagination when it comes to team composition in this version of the game for sure. Thunderbolt rips through them all. 3 Thunderbolts, 3 takedowns. Venomoth does survive a Thunderbolt and hits us with Psychic, but we shrug it off and a second Thunderbolt ends it to give us the 6th badge. We're going to Cinnabar, folks! Blaine could be a bit more of a challenge, with Ninetales, Rapidash and Arcanine the opponents for this version of the game. Ever hear the story as to why he has Magmar in the anime and not in the Gen 1 games? It's because the anime came out so much later than the games, or at least his appearance in it, I believe. I think Magmar gets very little love in Gen 1, since I don't think I've ever seen it in any of the games, ever. Anyway, we go for 2 Thunderbolts, sandwiching a Light Screen versus Ninetales. I do want that bit more protection from any possible fire attacks. Not that we get hit with any, we also get tagged with Tail Whip. Rapidash is also a 2-hit with Thunderbolt. We down it with electricity, but we get hit with Growl in the exchange. That's not a problem since we're going to be Thunderbolting all the way. Arcanine is also a 2-hit with Thunderbolt, though it does help that it cracks us with a takedown to weaken itself otherwise. I don't know if we would have taken it out in 2 otherwise, but that's moot since the takedown hurts and the recoil hurts it more in the long term. Giovanni then, and I'm reasonably confident. We have that Mimic move in our arsenal and it's going to make his team, particularly Rhydon and the Nidos, that little bit more manageable. Let's get this going. So this doesn't go to plan. We use Mimic to learn Earthquake from Dugtrio, while we then 2-hit that with Swift. Giovanni goes for a Guard Spec, his trademark move, and then Dugtrio goes for Dig. Fun fact, Swift, as I said earlier, hits while you're underground in this gen and we take it out. Persian is a single hit with Thunderbolt and that is the easy part out of the way as Nidoqueen survives our Earthquake and then hits one of her own that crits and leaves us on 5 HP. Ah, crap. We do take her out and severely injure Nidoking, but then another Earthquake brings us down. So, it would appear that I need to be stronger then. I get some more levels and come back at level 77. Hopefully, things go a bit better this time. Hopefully, everything crossed. That crit was unlucky before, so maybe we can get away with it a bit more this time. Still nothing. There's maybe one attempt where we get past Nidoking. Just one attempt out of about 6. Sometimes it's crit hits that do for us, sometimes it's simply the matter that we take too much damage from Earthquake attacks, because after all, there's no held items in this gen, so no means of healing up in the fight. That is creating a conundrum. I mean, I don't even know if Voltorb gets rests or not, but I don't even think that would do us a lot of good, because being asleep for 2 turns, we'd probably die to Earthquake. So, it looks like I may need to go back on the grind trail. We're not too far away from being able to one-hit Nidoking, so that might be a good thing. We're getting closer then. Grinding is painful come this point though, I'll say that, since I've fought all the trainers I can, and it's just wild Pokemon for grinding. Joy oh joy! Pokemon Mansion isn't bad for training, I will say that. Level 82 I get to, and then we come back. 10 whole levels after the first efforts. I thought I'd mess this up right at the start. My tactics haven't changed. Go for the Mimic versus Dugtrio to learn Earthquake. It's only when we get hit with 2 Earthquakes from Dugtrio as it survives Swift, I wonder why I'm not smashing it with Earthquake. Something to keep in mind for future attempts when we inevitably lose. Persian goes down to Thunderbolt before crucially, and I think my luck has turned, we one-hit both Nidoqueen and Nidoking with an Earthquake apiece, and this is absolutely massive in the scheme of things because it means we get to face Rhydon. Now I'm worried because I don't think we'll one-hit that without a crit, but we do get a crit off Earthquake on it and we duly end it to give us the 8th badge. Fandabby-dozy. Rival fight then. We will have to see how this one goes. Shouldn't be too bad. Can't possibly be worse than the fight we just had with Giovanni. Can it? Can it? This is quite frankly ridiculous because I've never seen anything quite like this before. We use Mimic to learn Slash from Sandslash to give us a better fighting move. And then we crit Sandslash 2 turns in a row with Slash to bring it down. Gotta love Gen 1 crit mechanics. Oh, it gets more ridiculous. We take Execute down with another crit Slash. Magneton is out next. Remember, no steel typing in this gen. We also take that down with a 4th crit in a row with Slash. Ninetales also goes down to 2 Slash attacks, hitting us with Ember and Quick Attack, but these 2 Slashers also crits. And then Kadabra we hit with another Slash. And get this, another crit! 7 in a row! We drop the Vaporeon with Thunderbolt. Yeah, okay, that doesn't crit, but that was something I don't think I've ever done before. I was tempted to see if we could crit some more, but no point playing with the opponents when we don't need to. I fight through Victory Road, and here are our stats as we stand in the Pokemon League at level 86. So, our speed is exceptional, but everything else is a bit meh. Attack isn't great, special is only marginally better, but who would have thought our defence would be the best of the other three? I'm reasonably comfortable that we'll be able to beat the stuff we can Thunderbolt with ease, so I'm not expecting Lorelei to be any sort of hard. Bruno could be rough, but only on his Onix, and I think we should be able to get around them with ease thanks to a move we can mimic off them. Agatha shouldn't be a problem, Lance could be one that goes either way, Gyarados and Aerodactyl should be easy enough, but the dragons likely won't be as simple. And well, we'll have to see versus the rival. Take your guesses on how we'll do, folks, if we can do it at this level or not. Right now, let's get this done. Ice Trainer Lorelei is first, and given 4/5 of her team is also water type, then I think she's going to get a nasty shock. See what I did there? I'd hope that this is pretty much a simple sweep through, otherwise it might bring into question if we can do the rest of them or not. Dugong is first, and we Thunderbolt it down to drop it hard and give us the first knockout. We crit a Thunderbolt on Cloyster on the next turn to take that down as well, and we're 2 up. Don't think the crit was necessary there, but I'll take it. Slowbro also goes down to Thunderbolt, and Jinx is 4th. We go for a Swift since she's frail, and that crits to bring her down. Lapras, at the last, also gets wrecked by Thunderbolt to give us a very quick victory. Bruno then is next, and normally he's a bit of a joke, but we still have to be somewhat careful. We might get hit with an attack here while we set up, since we will need to use Mimic to learn Dig off the first Onix. This has the potential to go badly. We do that strategy, we use Mimic to learn Dig, and Onix then uses Dig itself. We go underground ourselves at the start of the next turn, we evade the Dig from Onix, but it survives when we hit it. It misses Rock Slide, but we do finish it with Swift. Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee both go down to a Thunderbolt apiece, since they both have trash special stats in this game, so they're easy wins, before Onix number 2 is next. It survives Dig, it misses a Rock Slide on us before Bruno starts spamming X Defense for some reason. I have no idea why, but it's something that benefits us as we take it out with 2 Swifts for a knockout. Machamp then doesn't survive a Thunderbolt, and we take the win. 2 in a row, 2 down. Agatha shouldn't be an issue, but I suppose the Gengar might be a problem, since they have pretty good special stats. So they're going to weather our Thunderbolts reasonably well, I would think. I might be surprised, but we should be able to get there. We finally take a hit in this run, by the way. Gengar number 1 survives Thunderbolt and hits Mega Drain, but we take it out with a second Thunderbolt. Golbat, as you might expect, goes down to Thunderbolt. 5 unnecessary words perhaps. Haunter survives Thunderbolt and uses Confuse Ray, but we fight through to finish that off with yet another Thunderbolt. Arbok goes down to Thunderbolt before Gengar number 2 is last. It does survive Thunderbolt, it tries to use Dream Eater while we're awake, and then we take it down with a final Thunderbolt. Great tactics there, Agatha. 3 down. Lance then, let's get this started. I was looking at the moves his team has in yellow, and I discovered something that may benefit us. There's also something else to be aware of in that Dragonair number 1 has Thunder Wave. That might be dangerous, but I have a plan and it's down to me to execute it. Let's get this done. Gyarados is a very simple process. We blast it with Thunderbolt and it just sort of dies. Dragonair number 1, the dangerous one with Thunder Wave, only goes to Slam, and that's not a problem. We take it out with 2 Swifts, so we should be golden now. Dragonair number 2 knows Ice Beam, so we use Mimic to learn that. We do get hit with Hyper Beam from that Dragonair, but we shrug it off and down it with Ice Beam. Aerodactyl goes down to Thunderbolt before we face Dragonite, and our borrowed Ice Beam takes it down easily to give us the win. Right then, final rival fight. Let's get this out of the way and call the run a success. I wonder if we have enough. I think we should. I hope we do. The first bit of the fight will be rough. We'll have to survive Sandslash, and I think Executor might be tough too. But get those two out of there will probably be good. Let's see. Well, this doesn't really go to plan as we struggle to get past Sandslash. We lose a lot of efforts to that Porcupine. So many times we get wrecked by Earthquake. There's no other move that it ever goes for, and eventually we reach the point where I decide to burn through the rare candies I gathered through the game to get up to level 95, just to give us that bit more of a chance. It does work, kind of. There's still a lot of effort where we lose to Sandslash, though we do take noticeably less damage. One attempt, we do get past Sandslash, but we lose to Executor, thanks to it landing Hypnosis, and Sleep is brutal in Gen 1. Anyway, there's a final attempt where we do get past Sandslash in reasonable health, using Mimic to learn Earthquake and taking it down with two of them. Keep in mind, we are getting hit with them ourselves and they are super effective, so pain is an issue. Alakazam goes down to Earthquake before the third opponent is always Executor. We have 60 hit points left, we start hitting Swifts and we get hit by Stomps in exchange. And right at the end, before we bring it down, it lands Leech Seed on us when we have 17 HP left. So, if I don't end everything in one hit now, we're probably doomed either way. Ninetales goes down to Earthquake, and Magneton does too. So, we've got a final battle with Vaporeon. Vaporeon goes to Quick Attack, my heart leaps into my mouth. We survive that move on 6 HP, and we can drop it with Thunderbolt to give us a win. We can breathe a sigh of relief as we go and enter the Hall of Fame. Our Voltorb is going to go down in the history of the Kanto region as the top 1% of Voltorb. Well, that got hard right at the end. I didn't expect the rival to be as awkward as he ended up being, but, well, that's not something that eventually proved to be insurmountable. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Help me with the YouTube algorithm, since I want to reach more people. Join me again next time for another challenge as we head through Pokemon Platinum and see if I can beat that with a single Kricketune. I can see the start of the game possibly being horrific there. We'll have some fun. That'll begin the start of the last 3 challenges of the year. The last 2 will be a Christmas one and one where I do a recap on the year for the New Year one. No spoilers here on what the challenge will be, what the Pokemon will be, what the game will be, but I did reveal it on my Discord. I'm going to jump off here, folks. I've not got much to say. It's messed up that Christmas is actually so close now. I don't know where this year has gone. At the time of writing, it was the 6th of November, and a lot changed in the last few weeks. At the time of recording, it was the 13th of November. I don't really want to go too much into what did change with me recently. I need to get this Platinum Challenge started. Actually, that was writing OEFG. Recording OEFG is somewhere between the 5th and the 6th gym. I think I've just done the first fight, Cyrus fight, so yeah, that don't really make sense in hindsight, but here we are. Anyway, I'm going to jump off, folks. I will see you next time. Have a great day. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen. See you next time. Bye bye.